Hi, everyone. This is Diana Palm, and I am the medium helping you to heal the grief from heartbreak and loss. Today's episode is going to be pretty, it could be life changing for you if you've been suffering with grief and holding on to the energy of grief in your life. Because what I'm going to share with you is very different than what the mainstream teaches. In fact, this may be one of the reasons why we have been accustomed to believing that we're supposed to stay in grief forever, that we're supposed to live with grief until the day we die, and that we somehow don't know how to really embrace the future or even the present moment. And that includes new love, very vibrant health, and increased finances, living in abundance, and really appreciating our life. Somehow, the way that grief has been taught to us has really tied us to the past and tied us to some faulty programs around the concept of loss and death. Now, this is nobody's fault. It just comes from a system of belief that does not include energy. And so when somebody doesn't understand energy dynamics, they don't know how to shift the energy. Therefore, they keep you in the energy of grief, often teaching people that, to honor the dead, you must always remember them, or set up altars for them, or display their items, or keep mementos forever, or pass down heirlooms. All of these things have been taught to us by our ancestors. And what I'm about to share are some things that you can do to subtly shift this energy so that you can release any energy of grief that is causing you bad luck. So, understanding that grief is the energy of loss, and you no longer have your loved ones, so you're feeling like you miss them. It's also creating a void in your life. It's creating the energy of lack in your life. So, the longer you hold on to that energy and aren't able to shift it, the more you actually are attracting bad luck to you. And some of the ways that you can shift this are by making some subtle changes in your home. And then, of course, also doing the healing work appropriate to really go into your grief and heal those unresolved issues that you have with your loved one that passed, and bringing forward all the things to celebrate about, sharing the life with them, the lessons learned, and everything like that. I actually go into all of that in my #1 spiritual grief healing program. And I have a specific protocol for how long you should hold on to mementos after the funeral, how long you should keep photos up, and when that shift should take place, which would be energetically appropriate for you to embrace your new life path. So today we're going to be talking about some of these simple shifts that you can make. And I welcome your questions. I'm going to go ahead and open up comments too so I can see you guys. Okay, hello there. Dark Crystal Tarot, welcome. I'll try to keep up on people when they're in the chat room. Sometimes it gets a little much for me, but I'll do my best. Okay, so some of the simple things you guys can do to really begin to shift the energy of grief. And I guess before we go into that, that's why I want to talk to you more about the energy, because psychology does not address the energy. Mass media does not address the energy. They do express about the feelings and the stages of grief, and all of those are very real things. And there are systems of thought and ways to help you deal and cope with grief, or to understand the process that's unfolding for you as you're going through this. But nobody really specifically addresses the energy of grief. Okay. And so there's a very big difference, because when you understand energy dynamics, you know that your thoughts create your reality. Furthermore, your eyes are like cameras programming your subconscious mind at all times, which is why it's very important that when you're scanning your surroundings, the things that your eyes are witnessing and perceiving every single day, even if you don't realize what you're looking at, because you become kind of blind to your own house and your own decor, but your eyes are computing this energy to this information to your brain, programming your subconscious, and creating habitual patterns of replay this energy, replay this tomorrow again. This is what we're set up for. This is what we're viewing. This is the energy. And so you have to understand your brain is more of a computer. Even though we're spiritual, we're emotional, we're physical, our brain operates on programs. And your eyesight is constantly recording what it's viewing. And this includes movies, people when you're out in public. This includes music you listen to, obviously, and especially if it's on a video format where you're watching it. But it also includes things in your subtle and energy environment in your home. So when you're viewing things, you're recording in your brain. You're recording into your subconscious, and you're telling your brain you want more of this. So whatever you're looking at is actually part of the way that you're programming your reality. So this is why sometimes looking at photos of loved ones after they've passed can keep you in the energy of grief. It can keep you in a state of longing, of missing them, of knowing that they're not physically here anymore. And this can keep you in a very low vibration. Now, when we're talking about vibration, those would be emotions that are low on the emotional scale, and that can cause bad luck. You attract energy frequencies that are similar to what you're currently living in. So if you're in fear, if you're in grief, if you're in lack, if you're in hopelessness, you're going to attract a ton of other bad luck. This will come into your reality and make it really hard to get out of that, make it hard to heal your grief, but also to find hope again. And certainly very difficult to find happiness and love again, because those are very high on the emotional spectrum. So this video is about shifting the energy, understanding that what your eyes are seeing and interpreting and programming you for, this is what will make sense of why we want to shift some things around your home. Okay, so yes. Oh my gosh, I know. So we just have a comment here. Dark Crystal Tarot says, energy of grief is so heavy, but like the ocean waves, it moves, it comes and it goes. Absolutely. And that is normal. And so what we want to do is not create things in our environment that keeps us on the low part. So in a very simplified way, think about a photo of a loved one who's passed. Many of us like to display them everywhere in honor of them. I've done this myself for family members, for ancestors, for friends. And then as life goes on, pretty soon you realize you may have a wall of those that are all dead. And every time you walk past them, there's an emotional charge, an emotional connection to your missing of them, or the recognition that they're no longer in your life. And all of these energies are subtle but strong, and they keep you in a state of grief that goes on forever. So this is, it's very interesting because I know we're taught to do that. I used to have a big Victorian home and it was filled with pictures of ancestors. And it wasn't until, I knew these concepts, but it wasn't until I actually had all my movers, they actually, a few years ago, if you guys follow me, took all my stuff. They never delivered it. So suddenly I had no memorabilia and I had no belongings and had to start over from nothing. And I realized how freeing that was. At first, I missed the things that I had, especially things that were tied to some of my loved ones who had passed. And then I realized, wow, I didn't realize how much energy those items contained, how much energy I had given to them. And I realized I didn't miss those items, and I didn't need to hold items in my space that caused me to miss people. So that was a big healing. I healed on so many levels when I started over from from scratch, because nothing contained energy. It was all new stuff that I selected. And this was actually really powerful. And I believe part of my life experience, why I had to go through that, because I always am looking for ways to help the bereaved move forward. So I sometimes have to go first with my experiences. So when I talk about taking things down that are special, meaningful, I know what that feels like. I have lost everything. I've lost so many loved ones, and I've dealt with grief on so many different ways myself. And because I'm a medium and a spiritual healer, I'm also looking for the appropriate ways to really shift the energy of grief and help you guys heal so that you can move forward and just live the happiest life. There's nothing dishonorable about taking down photos of loved ones. In fact, it frees you. And your loved ones, they're still with you. They don't need to have you post pictures of them on the wall because you may forget them. Otherwise, you're never going to forget them. Not only are they in your heart and in your life experience, they have programmed you with certain life experiences that have moved your soul forward. And in the spiritual realm, they are still with you. So they don't need you to hold on to stuff like that. This is just part of our process and what we feel we need to do, or we want to do, or we've been told to do. So we're going to break into that a little bit more. Okay, so what we want to, some things I can teach you how to get rid of in your home environment that cause you to go back to the past, that cause repeat patterns and keep you stuck in the energy of grief and bad luck. Number one, you want to take down calendars where you're tracking time. You know, most people they'll circle death dates and funerals and people coming into town. And then they might even put in their calendar anniversaries. You know, the next month is the first anniversary without this person, first holiday without this person. And all of those things are significant. But sometimes the calendar keeps us in a running timeline where it seems like we may be moving through grief too fast, releasing it too fast, or every time we look at it, it's a reminder. Again, it's one of the things that programs your subconscious to recreate. So we want to take down visible calendars at this time. It doesn't mean you have to remove them forever, but this is a good time for you to remove them. You can always keep a running calendar on your phone where you can just look at it when needed to follow your daily routine or whatever, but it's not something that's on display, because that's one of the things your eyes are going to perceive and program you with daily. So go ahead and take those down right now. You should also take down any kind of large photos, artwork that was selected together. You know, if you look at a piece of artwork that you bought with a spouse and your spouse has passed, and you look at it, first it might be nostalgic, right? You might think like, oh, we bought that together. That was so meaningful. That was such a great experience. It might for a moment bring you to some happy memories at the time when you bought it. But then the follow-up is they're no longer here. I miss them. So there's a high and then there's a low. So removing that item from your house and refreshing your environment with a new painting that you select now is going to actually keep you in a healed state. It's going to really help your energy and your vibration so that you can shift out of bad luck. Okay. We often do that. We keep things because we think that they remind us of something of the past, but nostalgia is living in the past. So in order to free yourself from the past, because I know you want to be free, I know you want to be abundant, I know you want to be in love, I know you want to be happy and healthy. In order to do that, you have to be able to free yourself from the past. You can't continue to drag it forward with you, regardless if it's the loss of a loved one, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, the loss of a life you used to live. All of those things are part of your past. They've already made you who you are right now. And nostalgia ties us to the past. It ties us to past energy, not allowing us to fully step into where we're going. So for those of you who are very nostalgic, this might be really hard to hear, but I'm telling you that this is about energy, and to free yourself and really manifest and pull in new things that are more appropriate for you right now. It's time to put those things away. It's time to get rid of them. So we're also going to talk about a couple other things. Okay, so like if we have items from our loved ones, if we hang on to their clothing, if we hang on to other personal items, sometimes parents do that and they hold it for their children so that when their children are grown, they might want mom or dad's stuff. But this is actually really negative energy. It's creating a very negative vacuum in your house and not allowing you to have the health, the vibrancy, the money, the love, all the other stuff. It's an energy that's really draining your environment. So we don't want to hang on to clutter. We don't want to hang on to things, even if they're special. It's kind of like let everyone pick what they want, a few things, and then donate or sell the rest. You don't want to hold things forever or even for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. you want to move that energy along. Let it go where it's going to be used right now, because anything that's stagnant in your home is creating stagnancy around yourself. This could create stagnancy with your emotions, your health, your money, all the other things we talked about. So we don't want to have stagnant energy. We don't want to have closets full of stuff. We don't want to have tons of mementos. We don't want to have this stuff that holds energy, because it's robbing you of what you can be manifesting and bringing into your life right now. Okay, so we want to go ahead and clear those spaces out. Again, clutter blocks money and attracts poor health. So we want to move clutter. That's one of the first things you should do. If you have, I know it was so often one of the things people would do when someone dies is that they would stop the hands on a clock to mark that time of death. If you have these kind of heirlooms, if you have a clock that you've moved the hands of time, go ahead and reset it. Don't let it stay there. And if looking at the clock is reminding you of the passing of a loved one, it's time to release that clock. It's time to, free yourself of that energy and the time, the concept around time stopping. Your loved one simply left their physical body and they are still with you. So holding this energy around the death is actually preventing you from fully healing. Another thing you can do is to remove funeral flowers. If you have dried funeral flowers or any kind of roses with thorns, cactus with thorns, anything like that from your home, you want to go ahead and remove it and only have items in your house, if you're talking about plants and flowers, that are vibrant in color and leafy green, because those will add a lot of life and a lot of positive chi, positive energy into your home environment. So the other types of plants, dead plants, thorny plants, those can actually deplete you and make you very argumentative and want to fight. And you don't want constant reminders with dead flowers, because every time you see them, it's bringing you to a past event or the loss of a loved one. So again, those are mementos that are holding you in grief. So some are for energetics and some are tied to the loss. You want to go ahead and just whip through your house, look at where your plants are, evaluate them. Are they life-giving? Or are they thorny and prickly? And I know that's hard, because I'm actually living in Arizona, where everybody has different forms of cactus in their house, right? They have little ones and really cool ones, and I think they're beautiful, but they belong outside. If you have them inside, it does start to affect the relationship and the energy within your home. So stay to colorful flowering plants and leafy greens. Okay, and so we talked about, let me see. Oh, never paint your front door black, because that can actually produce a lot of sadness and attract death and grief to your home. So if your front door is painted black, go ahead and paint that a different color. Red is a wonderful, vibrant color, something that's happy or charged with energy. Black will actually block your luck too, especially when it's on the front door of a home. You can have black in other places. I love using black in the home, but on a front door, it is actually really bad luck. So we want to change that. Okay. Now, when it comes to some of the photos, sometimes we create altars for our loved ones. And I would say that there's an appropriate amount of time after the loss of a loved one where we want to display their photo, maybe their funeral brochure that we got, maybe poems that we wrote when we were grieving or going through our healing process. Any specific mementos, it's often really common to create an altar with these and light candles. That's okay. There's a certain amount of time where this is appropriate and healthy and healing for you. In fact, I have my clients do this in my #1 spiritual grief healing program. Like I told you, there's a protocol that I have them follow that allows them to fully move through every experience of grief so that they can really clear and shift the energy in their lives as they move forward. So it's okay to do this. Just it has to be for a specific amount of time, not forever and not for a prolonged amount of time. Otherwise, it will keep you in a state of grief and continue to train you train your brain for recreating the same feelings and energy. So at the appropriate time, you want to go ahead and take down your altar. It would be more appropriate for you to move those photos and keepsakes into like a keepsake box that you can maybe pull out once a year on your loved one's birthday or an anniversary of their death day. Pull it out and on purpose and with intention, look at their items in those moments and connect with them, connect with their spirit, celebrate their life, give gratitude for sharing your life, and then go ahead and close it down, tuck it away again. And so it is okay to keep a small amount of things like that, very intentionally, just not a full garage or a full bedroom or a full closet. So if you have one keepsake box, that would be ideal. You can also move photos then into a photo album, take them off your wall, put them in a photo album. That way, when you want to connect, you're intentionally pulling it out and looking at the photos, closing it and putting it away. But it's not on display all the time. So those are some ways that you can shift the energy. Also, ashes. I need to talk about ashes because so many of you hold on to the ashes of your loved ones. And I find this with pets just as often as human loved ones. So that energy is old energy. And even looking at the urn is a constant reminder and tie to the past. You look at the urn and immediately your brain says, they're not here. And what does that do? Triggers grief. It triggers missing, longing, lack. It triggers absence. It can trigger all kinds of other emotions and energy. So when you're moving through this process, again, there's an appropriate amount of time. It is probably time for you. It's probably maybe overdue that you go ahead and release those. If you can bury the urn somewhere or release the ashes, that's what's advised. Holding on to the urn, collecting urns. I know I know a lot of people that have, well, even in regards to pets, they may have 3 or 4 urns from their pets that they lost, and that keeps them in that energy as well. You don't need those ashes to stay connected to your loved one. Your pets are with you the second they leave their little bodies. So are your loved ones in a human body. You don't need urns to stay connected to them, to remind you of them, or to represent them in your environment. It is far better for your loved one who passed to go ahead and release them. Go ahead and release them. Holding on to them is for you, but it's actually harming you. So go ahead and bury those urns, bury the ashes, or release them. And you'll feel immediate shifts in your energy. You'll notice immediate shifts in your finances. Probably your health will improve, all the things we talked about, because energetically, you're finally releasing that energy that's tying you to grief. So that's a vital step. So those of you that you have urns at home, I don't know how soon it's been for you that you lost a loved one, but I would say if it's been over a year, it's definitely due that you need to release. Okay. Don't let it go past a year. In fact, I don't let my clients go that long when they're in my program. But if it has been over a year, then you know it's time. It's time for you to release those and really focus on shifting that energy. You know, I find that many people, many of the bereaved, they hold on to these things, you know, because we miss our loved one. Of course, we all go through that. But right now, you need to fight for your life, which means you need to get your energy clear as quickly as possible, authentically and holistically. You need to heal your spiritual energy so that your vibration stays in a positive state. I see far too many people that lose a loved one and they get into depression and addiction and financial loss, and it becomes the way they live their life for the rest of their life. So we don't want you to go down that road. We do want you to completely heal the energy with your loved one that passed. We want you to heal your grief. We want you to shift up, and we want you to have a vibrant, meaningful, wonderful life. So that's why these steps are so important for you. You do need to heal the energy of grief and shift the energy of grief out of your life. Okay, and let's see, what else do I have? It, okay, new wall art. We talked about hanging new wall art in the place of old wall art that reminds you of someone from the past. Try to bring in wall art that's vibrant, vibrant colors, red, orange, green, yellow. They're all vibrant. They're all life-giving. If you have a lot of muted colors and then they're somber and they're making you kind of feel sad, they're not uplifting you at all, go ahead and switch those out. Remember, your eyes are calibrated to your environment, and everything you look at is either reinforcing the vitality that you're in right now in this moment, or they're tying you to the past and emotions of sadness or longing or lack. So this would be an ideal time for you to refresh the artwork in your house, or even bringing in some throw pillows and bright, bold colors just to help pick up your mood and help you to see different color and be impacted by the energetics of that color. That will directly make an impact on your emotions and your vibration. Okay, and one of the reasons, I'm going to just bring this up quick. One of the reasons I have some clients that are like very resistant to removing photos, especially if they've lost a spouse or a child or someone so close to them. Now, I want to go there for a minute. When you do lose a child, many people will keep their bedroom the same and their pictures up and everything like that. Again, your loved one did not leave. And I know how painful this is, but your loved one left their physical body. They're still with you in spirit. They don't need a room because they're not in a physical body. They don't need to take up space in your home because they don't have a physical body. They're every much a part of your cellular structure and your energy system. They're with you all the time. So holding space for them is just creating a void in your own life that's creating unhealthy patterns of other relationships and other forms of loss and lack. So go ahead and shift that energy to really honor your loved one, your child, is to know that they're with you and to talk with them every day and to know that they're with you and still sharing an experience in life with you. They're just in the spirit side and you're in the physical side. They're very, very much with you still. So many other people, if it's a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a sister, whatever it is, they don't want to take the picture down because, again, they think it honors their loved one. But also sometimes they're like, well, that was a really happy memory. And so when we find ourselves not wanting to remove things that take us back to a happy memory in our past, it really stems from, I don't know if I'll ever be that happy again. I don't know if I'll ever be in love again. I don't know if I'll ever look pretty again. All of those things. And so the actual energy is around fear or doubt, or, where we're hanging on to a version of ourselves that no longer exists because that's the one we liked, instead of fully loving ourselves with where we're at right now and the life we're living right now. So I would say every time you start over in life, this could be every time somebody passes that's close to you, or if you get divorced or you leave a significant relationship, I would go through this process and remove, the photos, the artwork, the shared memorabilia, all of that to give yourself an authentic, fresh start with your energy. The more we drag forward, the more we're actually tied to the past and reattracting old patterns to us and not allowing ourselves to fully grow into the person that we're becoming and bring in new vital experiences. So remember that. And then, if you take down pictures like that of you and your partner from the past, and it may feel a little awkward at first, but then I encourage you, that creates an opening for you to go out and take new pictures. Go out and have new memories, new fun, new adventures. This will inspire you to find a new picture for that wall. The pictures and photos that you display in your home should be current. They should be current to the life you're living with people in your life right now. When somebody has left your life, either through choice or through death, we don't want to display those pictures again. Okay. We don't want to keep that energy in our environment because it causes us to feel sad, feel missing, lack, longing. So go ahead and keep the same picture frames, that's fine, but put new pictures in there that are current, that your brain goes, that's me right now, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago. That's me right now. And look at me, I'm doing good. I'm happy. I'm going to put a new picture in there next week, and so pictures are very powerful in terms of programming you in your environment. So be mindful of those. Again, your loved ones, keep them. They're special, but don't keep them displayed all the time. That's the key. You want to be able to pull them out when you intentionally want to connect, and then be able to put them away so that your environment is constantly recharging your life force and constantly allowing you to manifest abundance, love, and vitality into your life. Okay, I think that's all. Let me just check. I know we went over the colors. Again, really vibrant, wonderful colors for healing and vitality and life that can help lift you out of the energy of grief: red, green, and yellow. So begin adding those accents to your home. If you've had a loss, if you're grieving, it could be a throw pillow, it could be new art with vibrant colors, it could be the clothes you're wearing. So begin adding these things because they really do energetically uplift you. And it's so important that you have the extra assistance right now when you're grieving. If you like this video, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And if you want to come back here next week, I go live every single Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube going live. So you can come pop in here, go into my chat room, send me questions. If you have any questions about my #1 spiritual grief healing program, be sure you check that out. You can go to my website at www.dianapalm.com, and you'll see my grief healing program right away. It'll break it down and tell you all about it and how you can begin working with me. In fact, you could even get the free grief assessment to see how you're doing energetically, how you're doing physically, how you're doing spiritually. It will take you through a checklist where you can look at your own symptoms that you may not have associated with your grief. And you can kind of evaluate for yourself how you're doing shifting this energy in your life. And if you need help, that's what I'm here for. You can set up a private session or do my full program, which will completely shift the energy of grief in your life and really help you get the healing that you need. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.